Hi, thank you for joining the MOOBment. My name is Laurie Ann, and I am your host. And unlike episode 1, this is episode 2, where I will not be alone. I am so pleased to tell you that we have an honored special guest with us today who will add to the conversation. And before I have her introduce herself, I am going to share with you and read to you a little bit of a bio that I wrote about our guest. Marlene Kern Fischer. Marlene is an author, college essay editor, blogger, and longtime contributor to parenting publications such as Huffington Post and Grown and Flown. She attended Brandeis University, from which she graduated cum laude with a degree in English literature. Marlene has published 3 books: Trapped in My Sports Bra and Other Harrowing Tales, Gained a Daughter, but Nearly Lost My Mind, How I Planned a Backyard Wedding During a Pandemic, and the third one is entitled, I Was Hoping to Age Like Fine Wine, but I'm Feeling More Like an Avocado. As you can glean from these titles, Marlene finds comedy in the everyday chaos of family life, using sharp observation and gentle sarcasm to tell the truth in a way that feels both comforting and laugh-out-loud funny. She equates her humor to be somewhat mirrored in that of Irma Bombeck, and I agree there, but I also think she has a bit of a Seinfeldish kind of show about nothing about her. That's her sense of humor, which is something that I love. Outside of books, Marlene shares her voice on her blog, Thoughts from Aisle 4, where her musings range from parenting and politics to pop culture. In addition, Marlene publishes on Substack, where readers find a more personal and timely essay that encompasses cultural commentary, humor, and thoughtful perspective on contemporary life. As a wife and mom of 3 sons, so yes, Marlene is a MOOB, a mother of only boys, she writes with a blend of humor, honesty, and heartfelt insight about the challenges and joys of raising boys and navigating the parenting journey from the teenage years to college and beyond. Welcome to the podcast, Marlene. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And let me share with our listeners here that Marlene and I have never met in person. We did chat on the phone, but I have to say that as I was getting this podcast going, I spoke to many friends. I did all my networking and talking to people about what do you think we should discuss on the podcast? Who should I be speaking with? And one by one, I kept hearing the name, Marlene Kern Fischer. You have to call Marlene. So we have many friends in common. And I have to say that when I did pick up the phone and I did call you and we did connect, it felt like we had so much in common. And although we haven't met in person, I feel like I know you. And I feel like this is a beginning of a nice friendship. So welcome. And I'm so glad you're here. And thank you.
Thank you. I felt the same, definitely on the same page about a lot of things, and especially being MOOBs.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about that for sure. Do you want to tell us in your own words just a little bit about your family, your journey, and, about writing about your family and how that kind of got started?
I took a brief 30-year hiatus from my career to raise my sons, who are 24, 29, and 34 right now. I had to think about that. And I started blogging on Facebook, and WordPress was my original format. And my words resonated with a lot of people, and my stories. And also because they weren't little when I started, I had the wisdom and the humor in hindsight, because when you're going through it, not always as funny as when you look back on some of the stuff, and you know how it turns out. So it was sort of nice not being one of the younger mommy bloggers, and having a little bit more wisdom of perspective, I'd say. And that their brains do mature, and it mostly does work out, and it's all good.
It is all good. And actually, that's one of the things that I've been talking to other young moms about and about this podcast is that there are so many young moms who have multiple boys and who wonder how they're going to get through it. And I think that with age comes experience and some wisdom, and maybe we can offer that to some of those moms starting today. So I hope we can do that. I actually am kind of referring to an article that I read of yours back in 2017, so it was a while ago, and it was entitled, "What This Mom Learned About Grown Sons May Surprise You." So I did read the article, but for our listeners, and it was a while ago, forget about the article. What has surprised you about raising your boys that you might not have expected?
My grandmother used to say boys were a roskvarfene geld, which means thrown out money in Yiddish. Even though she was super close with my brother, so I'm not quite sure. And that couldn't be further from the truth. They are different than girls, at least my boys are. And not every boy is the same. Not every girl's the same. I hesitate to paint with broad brushstrokes, I guess. But my boys are not the best communicators, but things that have surprised me is I'm still close to them. Maybe not in the same way daughters are. I wrote a meme that people have stolen and been shared a billion times, that your sons could be married with 9 kids and you wouldn't know about it. Certainly, I wouldn't know about it for my boys, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're not close. They don't pick up the phone 12 times a day, and they don't text 80 times a day, and they don't ask me what to wear, or their hair, how their hair is looking, some things, but we are close, I would say.
So I have my big glass here. I don't know if you can see it, that says always half full. And it's kind of my motto that I try not to, and this is what I would offer to younger moms, and maybe you agree, try not to look at all the things that I don't have, or that, but look at all the things that are positive and that we do have. And boys do not at least my boys also do not communicate the same way girls do. Absolutely not. But they communicate in a different way. Like they'll call me or text me when they're walking, when they're on the
Yes.
whatever.
Driving in the car alone.
Exactly. So they do. And I guess, I think back to when my kids were little, my friends and people would make fun of me. I had 3 like you do. And, they outnumber you. And I remember walking with them, and I had one in the stroller and 2, one was just toddling by and the other one was like in my arms. And I would make them hold on to each other because of fear of losing them or whatever. And it's, I look back and I say, like, I've always had that need to hold on a little bit, and, call every day, and trying to navigate that, not be, a pain in the neck, but still, trying to be in their lives. And it's not easy.
If I might interrupt, I'm looking at your glass, and it's slightly above the half full. I would say it's a little more than half full, and I feel like that. There you go. That describes you.
Did you ever hear? I've read a lot about this optimism and half full, and some people will say the glass is always full because this part is all full of air. So there is a full glass, whether it be wine, water, coffee, air. It's always a full glass, and it's always refillable. So there you go.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. It's all how you look at it, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. So we have boys. Our boys are all older. We now have girls that came along with the boys, and that's a whole other game. You wrote a little bit about in your book about having a wedding during the pandemic, which was challenging enough. When you're a mother of the groom, mother of sons, people have preconceptions about that. How do you navigate being a mother of boys and being involved in things like the wedding and so forth, and kind of knowing your place, and being involved, but knowing your place, basically.
So I find that to be a very timely question because of the Victoria Beckham Brooklyn thing that just, I would love to see this video of the first dance or her dance with him where he said she was, is this PG, grinding on him? And other people said she was just nuzzling him. I think it's very important to know our place. I'm very fortunate when my oldest son, fiance went dress shopping with her mom and her aunt and her sister, I was included. They didn't do this whole, it's my daughter and it's my moment with them and blah. I felt included and they clued me in. And by the same token, I really, there aren't that many things I actually care about when it comes to flower. Or like, I didn't even care for my own wedding.
Right.
But I was happy to be included on any level. And with my middle son's wife as well. We did have a few scuffles over a few little things because again, there are very few things I care about. But those things are important to me. And the whole COVID thing did not make, that definitely tested the water. They were living with, everyone had moved home. They were all living here and it ended up being in our backyard and with 14 people, we were terrified we were going to get sick and die. So that kind of added a little. But I think at the end of the day, it doesn't need to be a competition. It's not, I'm the mother. And of course, their wives need to be, I don't want to say number one, but I guess number one. But I want to be included. And, you know, we brought them we bring them to the chuppah and the Jewish religion and we brought them to that point. And now that my daughter-in-law has a son of her own, my grandson, who's the cutest thing ever, I had to put that in there.
Is it the turkey toddler that you read about?
The turkey toddler. He was born on Thanksgiving in 2023, so he's a little over 2. I think she understands that she too will be the mother of the groom. And with age comes wisdom for them too. And it's good. I try and really support her and not just my son. Actually, they accuse me of siding with them more, whereas I'm very fair. I'll call any spade.
Right.
But they do accuse me of favoring them. And, you know, sometimes it might be true. I'm not going to lie.
Right. Well, you see it how you see it. I agree with you.
Exactly.
And it's a wonderful thing after having 3 sons, having these girls come into your life, which is a really wonderful thing too. I know I feel also very fortunate. All 3 of my sons are married and they have wonderful girls. And I remember actually when my first son got engaged, my boys were always really good. I don't know, maybe it was me. Just teaching them that way that, you know, whenever anything happened to them, good, bad, or indifferent, they'd call mom, you know, and I love that. And I remember saying when my oldest got engaged, I'm now your second call, you know, your wife comes first. And, you know, that's the way it should be. But I always want to be the second call.
Right.
And, you know, and still be in their lives and so forth.
I'll take the 100th call.
Well, as long as they call.
As long as they call.
Exactly.
I also want to say that when we went dress shopping and the guy at the store asked my daughter-in-law's mother, Machatenista, for those language, who I was, she said, oh, that's mom too. I'm mom 1 and she's mom 2. And at first, I think he thought maybe we were a gay couple. And that's
nothing
the role.
Wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. But I think that's, I'm very happy to have that role as mom too. I'm not their mother, but I'm a stand-in when they need me and try and show up when they need me.
Right. And I think also when you talk about glass half full, I think, you know, to reach out to young moms who may be going through this kind of thing or middle-aged moms, you really want your daughters-in-law to be close with their moms and close with their family. It says something about who they are. And it isn't a competition. You're right. And I also do think that weddings, having been through 3 of them, you know, just get a little out of control. It's really not about the wedding. It's about the marriage and the life and the relationships going forward. And we tend to all get really just completely, crazy about all these
Crazy.
weddings. Yeah, crazy.
Over silly details that don't. I just had this conversation half an hour ago with a friend, how it brings out the worst in people, and it does
Yep.
get out of control. And it's a few hours, and most of these details don't matter. And won't
Absolutely.
be.
I agree.
So-
Easy for us to say now. So for all of those listening, when you're going through it, it can be, difficult to navigate. I found by concentrating on the things that I could do and I could control, I could worry about my own dress. I could worry about certain things. That kept me happy, kept me busy.
Yeah.
So I think
Yep.
that's good. I think also, I'm extremely impressed with everything you do. I read so much of what you write. You have an unbelievable humor that I only wish I had a little bit of in my pinky here. And that's terrific to have that outlook on life. And it just dawned on me that, I love Marlene because she has this wonderful life. And I think that it's really important for moms out there to know that our families, our sons, our grandchildren, because they're the everything for us, are the most important and so much of our lives. But it's also really important to have some things of your own, and that helps make all of the relationships healthy. Don't you think?
100%. Part of the reason I started writing and working again is because I saw the writing on the wall with my youngest son leaving, and I didn't want to have too much time to nag them and keep repeating, "Are you dressed warmly enough today?" and "Be careful," and all the things I say. So this kind of keeps me out of trouble, which is a good thing.
It's a good thing. It's funny, now that I started this podcast, I've been really busy. It's like a fun new project for me. It's a creative outlet, and, hopefully becomes a real movement and a brand and so forth, and we'll see where it goes. But there are times now, normally I call my kids, I check in once a day, they check in, and they'll call me at 8:00 at night and say, "Mom, I haven't heard from you all day. What's going on?" Because I'm busy. And it's a nice thing, it's a nice thing to have this of my own, which is good.
Yeah. I'm impressed because I could disappear. I could be kidnapped. I don't think they would notice, but good for you.
I
that
bet they would
check your-
notice. They would notice. Believe me, they would notice. I don't know. Okay, so let's just tackle the next big topic, which is all of those questions. We have 3 boys. All of the questions, the ones you've heard, the ones I've heard. Are you sad you don't have a daughter? Who is going to take care of you when you get older? Are you done trying? I mean, how many times when I had my 3rd son, before I got congratulations from people, I got, "Are you done? Are you going to go for the girl? Are you going to have a 4th?" We talked a little bit about before we started recording this, and it stuck in my head. You said something to me like, "Girl schmerl." What's the difference? You want a healthy child. We both experienced some loss along the way. So tell us about how you feel about that, about the not having a girl. Again, glass half full, but how do you navigate the questions?
So at this point, I'm definitely done trying because I would be in the Guinness Book of World Records for oldest mom alive if that happened. And yes, I also got those questions. Was with my last one, were you trying for a girl? The answer is definitely not. One of my children is adopted, and that's a boy also. And if I really cared, I could have held out for a girl situation. And that did not matter to me at all. As you mentioned, loss, my first son died in infancy of a congenital heart defect. And that if I ever was so stupid to think boy, girl, whatever, life taught me a lesson very early at age 26 that the only thing that matters truly is that the baby is healthy and whole. And when my daughter-in-law was pregnant, that's all I worried about. Like, is the heart okay? Is the anatomy okay? Is everything looking good? And to the bottom of my soul, I could not care less. My daughter-in-law is pregnant again and having a girl. I think that's okay to say at this point in her pregnancy. And somebody said, "Oh, she's so lucky." And that made me so angry because my grandson is a delight. If I had 10 like him, I would be thrilled. And truly, I'll tell you anything, does not matter, not one little bit. And I sort of feel sorry for people who feel that way. I guess you can't help how you feel, but I am truly blessed. I have these boys who, they can be a pain in the neck, but I have 3 wonderful daughter-in-laws. Well, the third one isn't official yet, but they will be at some point. And they're they text me. We have fabulous relationships, and I didn't have to go through any teenage drama with them.
Right.
So how lucky am I?
Absolutely. And you know what? That's a tribute to your boys as well. That's the way I look at it. My boys chose well, and family means a lot to them, and family means a lot to each of my daughter-in-laws. And I think that, that's really what it's all about. We're one big happy family. And, all those years, it's interesting. I had my moments. I definitely had my moments where somebody would either say something, ask a stupid question, whatever it might be. But for the most part, when my boys were growing up, we were so busy and just trying to stay afloat with doing what we were doing. I didn't really have a lot of time to think about what I could have had, should have, whatever it is. It was what it was, and it was, joyous and wonderful, and everybody has their own journey, and you thank God that they're healthy, and that's really what
Exactly.
matters.
Because really, in the scheme of things, if that's the worst thing that has ever happened to you, you're having a pretty gosh darn good life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm impressed that you're one big happy family. We're somewhat dysfunctional, but we're okay.
Right,
It's still okay.
Well, we have our moments, but for the most part, I think everybody gets it. At this stage in my life, I feel like I really like to think I know what's important, and all those things that I got hung up on, 20 years ago, just, they don't matter anymore. It's really all about your health, because when you're healthy and your family's healthy, it's really all you can ask for. So
I've written notes to my younger self saying, "Don't worry so much." And I hope she's able to read them. Kind of knew maybe a little bit that it would be
maybe we can share them with our daughters-in-law, and maybe they'll learn something from that. I don't know. Sometimes I think, you are who you are when you're younger, and it just takes getting older to really see the big picture and get it, and
right. And also to get past some of the crazy years and the stuff that boys do until their brains are fully formed. So it is a little scary.
It is.
How
do you think having boys changed your identity and shaped who you were? Because I think about that with me. I'm a golfer right now. I play golf. And I definitely am a sports fan, although, you know what, my husband kind of reminded me recently, I was a sports fan before my boys were born. We lived in DC for a while, and I was a Washington, can I say Redskins these days? Redskins fan. And I don't know, we'll try to be politically correct, but we won't go there. But I know as far as playing golf, one of the reasons I actually pursued golf was I knew that I'm not the most athletic person, and that was something I'd be able to do with my sons. And I don't know that I would have done it if I had 3 daughters. I'd be too busy shopping or something. Has it shaped you in any way that you think?
No.
You are who you are?
I like baseball. I'm not a huge sports fan. I did spend a lot of years, decades on soccer fields and in gymnasiums for basketball and baseball, where I thought it was like watching paint dry, ball and then baseball, way too many hours. And I was a little bitter about that, but I don't know that it shaped me, but that's a really good question. I don't know. When we went to London once, they all went to the Emirates to tour it, and they saw a soccer game, and I took my little self to tea. And then I went to Harrods. They do like to shop a little bit, my middle one more than the others. But I mean, I've maintained I'm not the biggest girly girl. I never was. So maybe that's a reason I didn't miss feel, but yeah, I did get a little sick of sitting in sports in those chairs with the cup holders after a while.
Absolutely.
But no, I endure it. They are all big Sunday. They're watching things and whatever. I just tune it out, to be quite honest.
I'm kind of
I
curious. Like one of the reasons I started this whole movement thing was, like I've said before, that I'm an open book, and I really basically talk about everything in my life. And I talk to my friends a lot, and it dawned on me that I don't have I have some, but not a lot of friends who have only boys. And it's not a conversation that I've really had with even my closest friends until really recently. Do you know a lot of mothers of only boys? Like, I know you have
Yeah,
a couple, one in particular, very close friend, but do you talk about it at all, or is it just part of,
absolutely. Are you kidding?
yeah,
We talked about it all the time. And if somebody was listening in on our phone conversation, they died of boredom from hearing us discuss. And we definitely talk about these issues about having sons and grandsons or granddaughters, and doesn't matter, are we missing anything? And she's come to mostly the same conclusions that I have, all the same conclusions. I have heard mothers of only boys say, oh, I was so close to my mother, and who am I gonna have that with? And I'm so sad and I can't shake. I have heard that. And that makes me a little sad for them. And I hope they're able to not feel that at some point.
All right. I agree with you. It's funny. The last thing I'm going to share before we move on here is I have a close friend whose daughter has a son who's about, I would say, 3.5. She just got pregnant with her second and found out she was having twins, and she's having identical boy twins. So that was quite the shock. And she actually comes from a family of all girls. She has a sister. So it's people like her that I think about having these conversations and hoping that they listen and hoping that they will embrace the fact that they may have be a family of all boys. They will be the queen. I feel like at times, growing up, I was the queen in my house. I was it. Now I was left out sometimes because, that's how it is. But oftentimes, I was the one woman. I was it. So you got to look at it half full, right?
Exactly.
Half full. All right. So let me just tell you that we have a couple of segments here on the movement that we do, or we will be doing every single week. And one of them is called MOOB Mail.
Oh boy, it's that time. Ooh, mail's here. Your voice meets mine. From your heart straight to our trail. Let's open up that mail.
So many of our listeners have responded, thankfully, and sent in questions for MOOB Mail and asked us to address them. So I thought, while we have Marlene here, why not run through one or two of them and see what we have to say.
I love this idea.
Yeah. So, I kind of say that this is our community. It's not just me. It's really meant for everybody, all the listeners, not only mothers of boys, not only MOOBs, but people who love us, who really need to understand this crazy world that we live in. So I hope everybody will listen, will tell their friends, and keep writing in, because some of these questions are really pretty interesting. So I picked a few out. I'm going to read two of them. The first one is interesting, probably a good question for you and me. My boys are grown and don't call as often as I would like. How do I stay connected without hovering or guilt tripping? Do you want to respond to that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, my boys, one of them in particular, like weeks could go by. So I text, and I do a whole conversation in the text. Hi, Mom. How are you? Boy, he gets the hint when I do that. Back in the days of poking on Facebook, there was a thing where you could poke them. And I used to poke my oldest, like 16 years ago, on Facebook and just wait for a poke back. All I want is proof of life sometimes. Some are better about calling. The youngest, who I call CIA boy, sometimes calls but doesn't say anything. And I feel like he's been kidnapped or something. I'm like, are you still there? Like maybe something happened on the other end of the line. So you can't, they're just not going to call that much. So try maybe a weekly standing call at a specific time that works for them. Or maybe it doesn't have to be a call. Maybe it can be a text every couple days. Tell them you just really want to stay in touch and communicate that with them, and maybe they'll have an idea. So they always promise to be better, and they're not always. I know they're busy. They have their wives and jobs and dogs and friends, but it is nice to hear from them. And maybe if you say it gently and not in a scolding tone of voice, they'll hear it. And as they get older, I think they get better about communicating. The college years are especially bad. It's like they go into the void and they're on different time zones. It's like they're on a different planet a little bit.
We won't even talk about those fraternity houses. That's like a whole other conversation.
Oh my
Don't even
God.
want to go there.
They didn't even tell me when they didn't have phones for frat week or what. I didn't even know. I was like sending them texts and I never heard back. So
you might have been better off back then. I don't know. I mean, in some
Yeah.
ways at least. I don't know. Maybe.
maybe.
Honestly,
but yeah,
and I hear
Once a
what you
week.
say, and I find that now, since the girls, it's easier. The girls, I know I egg my husband on, call your mom.
Yeah,
and I think the
I do the
girls,
same.
right? And the girls do the same thing. And honestly, I don't know, is guilt tripping so bad? I don't know. We've earned it, I think, a little bit. Once in a while,
Yeah.
a little guilt trip is okay,
And often the girls tell me what's going on with them, so I don't even need to talk to them that
Right.
much. They'll let me know.
Absolutely.
They can fill me in. So
I guess as long as they know
they're-
you're there when you need them, when they
Right.
need you.
and they're better in person. So I try and get eyes on them, even though they're not so close by. I try and get eyes on them every once in a while because they're better in person to have conversations with.
Right. That's true. That's true. Okay, here's another question. This is a funny one. I'm asking for a MOOB friend. Has anyone successfully taught their son to aim, clean, and replace the toilet seat?
Replace the toilet seat. Wow,
Meaning
that
put
must
it
be
down.
great.
Put it down.
Oh, put it back down. I thought take it apart.
No.
And I was
Although
like,
I'm
that
sure
must
they've
be
done
good.
that also, but
My boys all were very good about putting the toilet seat down. I used to do a lot of cleaning in there. I have to tell you, I don't miss that at all. I think I would have to ask their wives about. I think they do get better. Aim, it is what it is. Just keep some wipes by the Lysol wipes by the toilet, and
yep.
I was very clean. My children vary in their degrees of cleanliness, and I won't shame anybody right here and call out names and say who, but they know.
It's funny the things that matter to you, and then you have grandchildren. My grandchildren now come to my house and they can destroy the house, and I just do not care. I just want them to be happy and play, and they can pee all over the place. It's okay.
Oh, maybe not all over the place.
Maybe not
but
all over the place. And maybe not. But it does change. It's interesting. Anyway, we have one other section that a segment rather that I call the Confession Corner. And again, we've had people write in to tell us something of a confession, something that maybe they don't normally say out loud, that they feel a little safe in this space to let us know about and maybe comment on. Let's move on to the Confession Corner.
Lean in close, have no fear. It's the confession corner, no judgment here.
Okay, so the confession for today is, I have let my son think I didn't know how something worked just so that he could feel like the hero. Somebody wrote that in.
So I often actually don't know how things work. So I don't have to pretend. I'm really bad with technology. My youngest, I don't think I'd be a blogger if he didn't show me how things worked initially on I didn't even know how to copy and paste when I started this a decade ago. So I really don't have to pretend. I'm pretty bad at a lot of things. So, but that's an interesting confession.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had the same take as you. I definitely don't know a lot of the things they know. As a matter of fact, I had planned to start this MOOBment project as a book. And I thought I would do this book, which I still am actually planning on, hopefully working on, and have different MOOBs, different mothers of only boys contribute different chapters and respond and so forth. And I was talking to my kids about it. And my son said to me, you know, Mom, that's much more of a conversation. You really need to do a podcast. And at the time I was like, really? Like podcast? You know, I don't really know about a podcast. And, you know, I learned from them. I learned so much from them. So
that's why we kept having kids. In fact, more than the girl thing is I needed a younger one who in the house who was savvy with technology. So in fact, when he went to college, true story, he made me a whole Google Doc on all the passwords and how things worked in the house. And I'm grateful now that I have a grandson. I'm hoping he'll step up and we'll be able to, you know, fill that gap. But these in-between years are a little difficult.
Yeah,
so
even the babies, though. My grandson's 5.5, and like he moves so quickly with the finger. It's like, oh my God, like what is he doing? You know, it's crazy. It really is. All right, now we sound like our mothers. This is not good.
Yes, not good. Not good.
Not good at all. All right. Well, thank you, Marlene, for joining me today. This has been really wonderful. I hope we have been some help with our sage advice here, your words of wisdom for our younger generation. And I know for me, it's really nice just meeting somebody who is kind of on the same page and has a similar life experience. And that's kind of what I'm hoping is that for this this MOOBment here, that women will come together and share and vent and laugh and embrace who we are as mothers of only boys, because it really is a wonderful life and we are all very, very blessed.
Very blessed. This was so fun. Thank you for having me. And it was a blast.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And we will talk again soon, I'm sure.
Oh,